Here we go. All right, guys. Welcome to the Monday show here at the High Desert Music Channel. It's a Monday show. It's a practice show. We're going to talk about practice this week. We're going to talk about practice this weekend. What I got up to, what worked, what didn't. Normal Monday night stuff. You can see we got some new stuff going on in the back. Hopefully, that kind of makes it a little nicer to watch the show, a little more interesting anyway. Not just staring at a white screen. And me, because I'm sure not a whole lot of people want to be staring at me at any given time. I can understand that, Looks like we're going. Awesome. Fired up and running. So, welcome to the Monday night show, guys. 30-second delay is just about up, so, the show actually really starts kind of now, sort of. Anyway, so, this week, where are we at? What are we going to do? Well, I still need to put, obviously, more time into the MIDI. It's working out. I'm getting pretty well where I want to. I've figured out a lot of it now in terms of how to get it recorded, how to lay down the various things, the various instruments and sounds and tracks and beats and whatnot. I'm kind of figuring it out. Don't get me wrong. I'm not there. But it's coming together, and I can get it to record stuff. I did a little recording today, a couple of tunes. I'm going to try to do a couple more tonight for somebody else. And so I'm doing that with the Focusrite through Audacity. Just trying that out and to see how that would do, how Audacity will do with just audio, obviously, because it doesn't do the video. It doesn't work. I'm using OBS to do these shows. Obviously, I still haven't quite figured out the whole multiple channel streaming part yet. We'll get that going. I'm going to try to get that figured out again. I was hoping to get that done and just haven't yet. So we'll get there. We'll check it out. See how it goes with that. That's kind of high on my list too, to try and get the spread of the channel a little better, and be able to get the footprint a little bigger and spread out to more places so more people have an opportunity to watch. Obviously, I don't know that a whole lot of people are going to want to watch this. Hopefully, we can start zeroing in on what people want to see and get some new viewers and get going like that. So, that's kind of the deal right now, and that's a big one for me. Learning the MIDI, learning the software for all of this is high on the list right now. Honestly, seemingly a tad more important than playing the music right now. So, it's going to be kind of one of those for the next week or two. I'd really like to get that figured out. I'd really like to start spreading out, doing different things, doing better things, being better, obviously, at some of what I'm already doing. But, I want to spread out and get the music to really just kind of take over. And eventually turn into the only thing that I really need to do with my time is playing music and making music. So that's where we're headed. That's where I want to head, anyway. And that's my practice this week. Is, like I say, it's going to be a whole lot of software stuff, MIDI software, audio, video software. I have, as I said, I had an opportunity to put down a couple of tracks for another content creator. I'm not going to say who right now. I'm going to let them have the tracks, get the tracks to them, and then decide, let that individual decide how they want to proceed in terms of who's calling out who's shouting out who, whatever. It's kind of interesting to me and kind of cool, that this is an individual that I know this person through emails and chats, and unlike me, this person and their footprint and their following and their channel is just exploding. It's crazy. And I'm beyond shin deep and sinking fast. But, I have an opportunity to maybe throw out a couple of tracks that can be used on some of their things, and hopefully that might help spread the footprint of the channel. So that's kind of cool for me personally. It's like, oh wow, dude, that's kind of cool. I might have an opportunity to use my amazingly mediocre playing skills to spread the word for somebody else and help somebody else spread their word, and maybe who knows, maybe make a nickel out of it. But that's kind of cool. It's a new development this week, kind of like the neon sign over yonder. That thing's cool, huh? Interesting. I mean, hey, you know what? It's better than white screen. So, here at the High Desert Music Channel, we strive to bring you the very, very best in mediocre entertainment. The audience, I think, they agree. See, those guys agree. They're usually ones that do. They like to agree with me sometimes. But like I said last week, they get special prizes when they agree. So, anyway. And let's talk practice again. Let's roll back to where the show needs to go. I'm going to try to rein these shows in and have a direction for them. That might help gain some viewers and whatnot. And again, that's part of practice too, to try to come up with better thumbnails. Again, learn some software for better thumbnails and better descriptions. I got some videos out for you guys this week. Hopefully you've been checking them out. Some more crappy covers, hot off the griddle right at you, man. But everybody likes the crappy covers, and I put a few more out for you this week, and check them out. Pretty crappy. You got the episode out Sunday morning, like I told you I would, of Life and Music. So go check that one out for me. In the very least, I'm curious what you guys have to say in terms of its length. Is 10 minutes what you want for a show like that? Again, is it even a show that you're interested in? Does anybody even really, is anybody going to watch it ever, eventually? If you are, and if you do like it, if it is something that you think you're into, let me know if 10 minutes is right. Is 20 minutes better? It was suggested to me that I should just let them flow based on topic, which is not the worst of ideas. I don't know how that would work out in terms of YouTube's algorithm. I think they kind of like steady and the same all the time. So I kind of wouldn't mind zeroing in on a time that works, 10 to 20 minutes, whatever. I don't know. Anyway, that's a different kind of practice, but that's practice nonetheless. It's going to have to happen. It needs to happen. I've been harping on that one for weeks, and I still am not making the kind of movement in it that I'd like to. So we'll see how that goes. So we got a little bit slow internet tonight. You would think with underground and fiber optic that weather shouldn't matter. There is a big old thunderstorm rolling through the desert right now. You wouldn't think that would matter since the stuff's underground. But hey, apparently it does. And we're not running as high on the internet as generally we do. It doesn't seem like that's helpful tonight. But hey, such is the world, and I can't afford some crazy fast internet line in here just to run this show quite yet. So maybe we'll get there one day. And before I go back to the MPK and practice, let me talk about that for a second. Like, again, this individual that I'm trying to, give them something that they could use with their content. Whether it gains me anything or not, I'm just, here it is. Whether it gains me anything at all, I don't really care. I just want the opportunity to add to something that's being put out there to the world that more people will see, than these shows right now. But, like I said, this channel, this individual's social media footprint and such just began. And, this individual's telling me the money that's already walking in the door. I'm like, my God. I got 62 subscribers, man. I can't make a nickel until I get 1,000, and have 4,000 hours of viewing time. So, also, this individual and I are in completely different spaces. What's working for that creator is short clips, stuff like that. Cartoony stuff, memes and cartoons over memes, that kind of thing. So, that's hot. Everybody loves that kind of stuff right now, and it's great. And I understand why there's money being made. And I understand why this particular creator is making some money at it so fast. Definitely on the correct train, going the correct direction, and has figured it out, for sure. And I can't do that. What this creator does and what I do are in completely different spaces. And I haven't, maybe there is a way, I haven't figured out how to create the kind of shorts, or even memes or anything like that to kind of forward the channel. I don't know how to do that yet. I haven't, I guess I'm just not creative enough to think of those things. I don't know how to do it necessarily. Anyway, I'm checking this person's stuff out, and there's all the links and stuff to buy me coffee and Patreon, so on and so forth. Like, wow, man. At 62 subscribers, why would you guys offer up a penny to some fool like me? So I'm not even gonna bother with that stuff for quite some time. That's not even an option for me. So as far as making money off of handing over a couple of tunes, I'm not all that concerned about it. It would be cool just if I can get my channel's name tied to it, to maybe gain some viewers, some listeners. That would be cool for me. Yeah. Of course. That would be fine with me. I would just like the opportunity, like I say, to get something out. Probably don't even need the headphones. I can hear. I've already listened to it, and I know it's as good as it's gonna get. I don't know. Maybe it's a better picture. Maybe you guys like me with the headphones on. Maybe maybe with the headphones on, it's a little less scary. I don't know, man. So anyway. That's part of what I've kind of learned over the weekend and what I've been thinking about in terms of the channel and practice again, because that is practice with the software and learning all that stuff. But now let's roll back to the actual show topic: practice with the MIDI. I've learned, again, I've figured out how to get the correct sequence, get the correct tracks laid into a sequence and get the programs loaded, and be able to see my instruments. And I've pretty well gotten the keyboard to do what I want it to do, and I think I've got the output thing figured out, and how to record and get them to record figured out. And then what I really began to realize is I don't know how to make music. I don't know how to create new music. Everything I put together sounded terrible, almost as bad as the vocal cover I tried to record. So we're going to keep working on that vocal cover. I'll practice it some more. I mean, that's another practice kind of topic, practicing the vocals. I do probably want to try to learn the song a little more, so I can strum along with my own guitar and music, and maybe that would make it easier to sing. I don't know. We'll keep trying. I'll keep practicing at it. That in and of itself brings another thing to mind that I've learned about YouTube this weekend, and some things I've figured out about making content and about trying to get somewhere with it. I saw another video this weekend, and I watch videos, I especially the last month or so since this channel started up, I kind of specifically go out to YouTube for a couple of hours whenever I can. I try to make a point to go out and look for new creators like me, folks that don't have viewers, that don't have subscribers, that are trying their best to put stuff out. And I tell you what, there's some folks out there that are putting things out way, way, way better than what I'm putting out. I realize the stuff I'm putting out is pretty low quality and not amazingly interesting. There's no editing, there's no openings, there's no closings, I don't have subscribe buttons all over the screen flashing around and stuff, so I realize that that my content is of relatively low quality. I get it. I understand that. Doesn't mean I like it, doesn't mean I don't want to change it. I get it. So anyway, I watched a video this weekend of another creator. I can't remember her name. I don't remember her name. I will try to look it up and shout her out on the Wednesday show. She again is in a different space. This is just a kind of a one-off video of her and her boyfriend learning, and him playing a guitar and her singing and learning and practicing the same song over the course of a year and improvement. And it made me realize, well, yeah, dude, you can't, having never tried to record a song or sing a song outside of a choir setting, and a church choir at that, you can't expect to record a song and have it come out anywhere near decent. You don't know what you're doing. And it made me decide that I really will keep practicing, we'll keep trying to get that and learn that, because that's music, and that's part of music, and I don't really want to leave any bits and pieces of music behind if I don't have to. Point being, I looked at this girl's channel. This is another one of those things I've learned about YouTube this weekend. I looked at her channel, and I mean, she had a gob of shorts, 100 maybe, I don't know, a lot of shorts, man. Scroll page of shorts. And some of her shorts had 10, 12, 14,000 views, 8,000 views. I mean, it's crazy how many views she had. And yet this girl had 38, 39 subscribers. And you're a long, long ways away from making money, even though you're getting crazy amounts of views. Huge amounts of views. So, there's a weird needle to thread with YouTube that obviously is going to take some time to figure out if this is ever going to bloom into something that is actually my life, my job. I'd like it to be, I'd like to get to that, to be able to do stuff that people like well enough that I can make it my deal. So, that's that. And yeah. But, again, that's kind of like with the MPK, with the MIDI. I have no idea how to make music. Everything I put together this week just sounded terrible. Didn't sound good. It just wasn't right. And I know for sure, obviously, some of that is that I don't really know how to use the MIDI just yet. I'm not real adept with it. I'm getting there. But they're just not quite sounding like I would want them to. I played some earlier today, this afternoon, as the crowd was coming in, the studio audience, as they were coming in to fill up the bleachers back there, I played a little bit for them, and, what did you guys think of it? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. So, they kind of laughed at it. But I did too. Honestly, it was really bad. It did not sound like good music at all. So we'll figure that out. That's part of practice, obviously, is learning how to write and create new music that's never been made before. You put a guitar or a bass in your hand and you start jacking around and you'll play something that hasn't been played before, whether or not it's good. There ain't no telling. I'm along with learning the software on the MIDI this week is going to be a lot of kind of learning how to play the piano, and learning where to bring things in, right? Do you bring it in on the 1? Do you bring it in on the 3? Keys that work together and keys that don't work together. Those are musical theory stuff that I really am not super schooled in at all. I can make a guitar or a bass. I can make either one of those things make some noise that sounds like a song. You guys have heard it in the videos. They're not all that fantastic. But that's, hey, I can do that. And with the MIDI, man, I'm not quite there yet. It's a different ball game because it's not all the instruments at once. Any of you guys who have ever put together MIDI music or tried to put together MIDI music like that, you understand it's a drum. And I think that's going to work, and then you try to put a piano or a hi-hat or whatever over the top of it and layer up and create a song. Well, I've never considered that, never thought of it at all. So that's a hurdle. But I want to learn it. I want to get better at it. I want to make the channel better. I want to be able to bring music to you guys behind the songs that I'm playing, so that the crappy covers I put out aren't, just me, my crappy guitar or my crappy bass, so that you guys get to hear, an actual kind of halfway sort of song in there. Hell, maybe you don't want to hear it. I don't know. But such is the world, right? So anyway, that's going to be a huge part of my practice this week. Chord-based stuff, again, is a large part of practice this week. Actually doing really well. I'm making some progress with the chord changes. Again, these are simple ones. The videos you guys saw me put out last week and a half, whatever it was. Fireflies, Don't Worry, Be Happy. Those are both chord-based tunes, and I'm getting better at them. The chord changes are coming more smoothly and quicker. I'm actually showing some progress. And I tell you what, really, I know as I talked about the first couple of weeks, every time I was on the channel, every show I did on the channel for the first couple of weeks, I was telling you guys that I'd been neglecting the guitar and hadn't really been playing it. I'd been really just playing with the bass and not playing the guitar much. But I tell you what, since that Wednesday show where I did the pickup in that Fender Acoustic Electric, that really kind of got me over that little hurdle, so to speak, or that whatever it was, because that made me want to play the guitar. Because, as I said the other day, I had to test it out. I had to make sure that what I had done worked, and that just got me to be wanting to play it more, because it's like, oh man, I guess I kind of had forgotten the cool stuff, and this, so I've been playing a lot more guitar in the last since that show. What was that? be 2 weeks. 2 weeks this week. Yeah, 2 weeks on Wednesday night. So that's been helpful. It's been cool. You know, I kind of am. I don't want to say rolling backwards, but I'm moving. I used to have a pattern when I first began. I'm still obviously an absolute beginner. I mean, obviously, beyond any shadow of a doubt, I'm a beginner, and that's that. You know, it is. Yeah, total beginner. But when I first started, I had a pattern of, if I learned a song on the guitar, I would learn it on the bass. Let me be wildly professional here, as per usual with every show. You know how it works around here. Hey, at least this time it wasn't a big old wad of gum. Like, was that last week? Good God, man. Anyhow, Christ, I forgot what I don't know. Totally lost it, man. Vanished off like a prom dress. Guitar, playing the guitar a lot more, which has been nice and cool, and you forget some of those things. Chord changes are coming faster, and that's going to be a big part of practice this week. And now I've almost gone. Oh, I remember. So I'm kind of picking back up a habit that I had when I first started playing, of learn a song on the guitar and then learn the same song on the bass and be able to play both, which I think is kind of cool. And especially now, I think that's really working right now, because I'm starting to do all this recording software and recording hardware, the Scarlett 4i4 and MPK. I'm starting to get that stuff figured out and working for me a little better. And so, you know, with those things operating anymore, I really do want to start trying to learn the same tune on bass and guitar and get really fairly proficient with each one in terms of bass and guitar. And try to then lay two tracks out, you know, one or the other, as normal recording artists do, I suppose. But you know, then be able to layer my tracks together so I can have one track that's me playing a guitar part and a bass part. And you know, at that point, I could probably figure out how to route it or get it onto an SD card or route it into one of my pedals, one of my loopers, and play my own stuff, you know, over on one of the loopers with some of the effects, which would be pretty cool. You know, to me, that'd be awesome. And that's kind of, you know, obviously part of one of the directions that I want to move in, and one of the things I want to start picking up and start learning. And that's part of practice. You know, again, that's what Monday nights are about here on High Desert Music Channel. It's just about how we practice what we practice. You know, and you guys leave some comments on the video on the show tonight. Let me know, what do you guys like to practice? Do you have specific routines that you go through? You know, I've seen a lot of stuff about having a plan, almost a written out plan for what you want to learn when you practice, and having a very focused practice session. And I can see where that'd be super helpful. You know, most of the time I tend to just play songs, which is practice, of course, because you're practicing those chord changes. You're playing different songs, you're getting your fingers more limbered up and more used to the fretboard and moving up and down the board and making those chord shapes and getting those chord changes, and playing songs is obviously very helpful. But yeah, I wonder if you'd be better off, if a guy or person would be better off to have a set schedule-ish kind of a thing. You know, like, okay, I want to spend 10 minutes every day, no matter what, with chord changes and a chord trainer, or you know, something like that, or doing the spider exercise for 10 minutes, for 5 minutes. I know I've talked about spider exercise before, and I'm sure a lot of you guys probably know what I mean. First finger, first fret, second finger, second fret, third finger, third fret, fourth finger, fourth fret. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So that boom, 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 you know, all the way up and down strings. A pretty good limber. It limbers you up. It gets you able to not watch your hand as much. And I mean, that's something I've noticed too in the last few days, week or so, in terms of practice and how practice is helping and getting there, and even just playing tunes all the time, but not really practice, but just playing songs over and over again, and how it's helpful. I've noticed that I'm getting to a point now with my playing skill and ability and whatnot that, and it may sound crazy to you because maybe it was never an issue for you, but it has been for me. But I'm a lot more able to keep time with the foot, you know, tapping my foot while I'm playing, not just in the lead in and not just in the empty parts of the song, but while I'm playing the song, I'm able to keep rhythm better with my foot and not screw up my playing, which was, like I said, kind of not the easiest thing in the world for me, because, you know, I'm 8 months in or so at this point, and but it's coming around, and I've noticed that, and I know that that's from just practice, putting in the time, putting the effort, playing as much music as you possibly can, and that's so I feel good about that. I see it. I can tell that it's working. And there's a couple of tunes now that, along with keeping pretty close to absolutely correct time with my foot while I play the song, I'm getting to a point where I can sing it to myself. I'm certainly not singing it out loud, but I can think about, you know, I can hear myself singing to myself in my head, right? If you guys can follow that convoluted chain of thought. But yeah, I can hear myself singing it, right, in my head as I'm playing, which is new for me. Up until now, a lot of what I would get was I would think to myself 2, 5, 2, 0, you know, in terms of which fret, open string, you know, which fret, and play my way through a song like that, as though I'm thinking and saying the you know, follow the bouncing ball, musician style tabs. You know, I'm thinking tabs in my head as I play, you know, 1, 3, 5, whatever on the fretboard. And now I'm getting to a point where I don't think that way quite as much. There's a few songs, I guess I've played them so many times now, that I can actually think of the lyrics and sing it to myself as I'm playing, and not just count the tabs in my mind. So I've seen some improvement with that. I know practice has given me. I know the improvement is coming, is there because of the time that I spend playing and playing and playing and playing and playing. And, you know, it's getting to be that time of year where I have time in the mornings to play on the front porch. Usually I can get an hour in every morning before I got to go do something, and sit on the front porch and play some bass and play some guitar. And I'm sure my neighbors are absolutely tired of hearing One and Unforgiven on acoustic bass. I just have played the shit out of those two the last few weeks, along with all the other normal stuff I play. And I kind of thought about maybe I should just drag the camera out there one of these mornings and run a live morning show of me just kind of sitting there practicing, and then you guys could actually see what my practice sessions are. But you know, like I said the other day, when your practice sessions are live on the street for anybody to watch and hear, it does make you try a little harder. You know, it does make sure you want to get that one right, man. You don't want to look stupid when somebody's wandering down the road, and I happen to live on one of those streets where lots of people walk up and down the street to get from walking trail to walking trail here in town. So but yeah, maybe we'll do that one day this week. Maybe we'll fire up the camera and do a live show, of morning practice. Who knows? We'll see. So, it looks like the show's doing all right tonight. We've got a few viewers here and there, and hasn't been too awful bad. So we'll see how it continues. Probably getting to wrapping it up spot pretty soon. These Monday night shows, I don't know that they need to go for an hour. I guess I need to really zero in on advertising about this Monday and Wednesday show, because the Monday and Wednesday shows never do as well as the Friday. Granted, it's the middle of the week, I get that, and it's 9 o'clock, but they're not getting rewatched, on Tuesdays and Thursdays or any time. But hey, I'm gonna keep doing them, and I'll start trying to zero in again on how to advertise this channel in some way, shape, or form, and get it spread out to Rumble and Twitch and Instagram and any of these other places that I can do live stream shows and try to widen the footprint. Again, it's kind of like practicing your music on the front porch for everybody to see. If you're try to make that footprint that big and get out to that many channels, well, everything's got to come up. The quality of everything's got to improve quite a bit. So just kind of looking. You can tell I'm not looking at you guys. I'm looking right now but at the screen behind me. So I made these stands to put the guitars on, so that maybe the screen wouldn't be quite so empty behind me. And apparently I need to make them 6-8 inches taller. You can't even tell the one under the loud sign is an SG. You can kind of see it in the preview, but you can't see it in the program. So I need to work on that. I'll change that around this week. I'll make those stands taller or something, so that way we can kind of rotate through instruments. If you guys can see that green box under the clock, that is a thrift store score that's going to be used on Wednesdays on the channel here. So I'm really going to zero in on the Wednesday shows being gear shows. So this Wednesday, we're going to take that green box over yonder. I'm going to throw it out. That's actually a table in a box in a suitcase. It's a $5 thrift, $6 thrift store find, 6 beans. So anyway, we're going to throw that table up, and we're going to do an actual gear episode this Wednesday. I will try to figure out how to get some sort of a short out on YouTube, Instagram, all blah, 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 to get that advertised. I think this week, first time through on an actual true gear episode, we're going to do the Boss Katana 50-watt guitar amp. It's an oldie but a goodie. So we're going to go through that this week and do kind of my style of a quote-unquote review episode, as I said, and as you've well figured out by watching my videos, I'm a total beginner, so it's not going to be the kind of gear review that maybe you've watched before, where these guys plug in and just rip out these crazy, nasty shredding tunes and, these hot licks, man. That it's just what the hell, dude, really? That's cool, man. No, it's not going to be that, because I can't do that. But I'll go through an amp like that for a beginner. What I've figured out, was it a little much for me? Was it not too much for me? Where did it fall? So the next 3 Wednesdays in a row, we're going to do a little kind of middle of the road, small wattage guitar amplifier reviews. So we're going to do the 50 watt Boss Katana this week. A week from that, 10 days from now, we will do the Positive Grid Spark 2. And I'll put the cab in there, the Spark cab. We'll do that one next. And then the third and not the final, but the third guitar amp episode will be the Catalyst, the Line 6 Catalyst 60 watt. So those are going to be over the next 3 Wednesdays. And I'll get that into shorts so you guys know that it's coming up. I'll get those out in the next couple of days and kind of advertise that. So we're going to zero in on this, guys. I really promise you I'm going to. I'm going to start doing outlines for everything. The Monday show, the Wednesday show, the Friday show. That way it's not just me up here, half cooked and rambling. Because I know that's what these turn into, which I don't think on Friday nights anybody really gives a shit. I think that's fine with people on Friday nights, but Monday and Wednesday I think I want to zero in and do something more focused. Practice methods. That's kind of the hard one. Practice methods and stuff. I don't know how to really talk about that because I know the ones I know, and until we get a bunch of viewers that are having chats and want to talk it through, I don't know how to work on that stuff. So we will go see. I can't. Okay, I'm sorry. I was looking at something. So yeah, we'll do some. I'll get these written up so that these make sense somehow and they kind of flow a little better. I don't make a whole lot of promises, but I'm going to try. The Monday and the Friday is going to be hard. Wednesday, the gear episodes, those will be pretty easy. I can certainly zero in on those. And the Sunday episodes of Life and Music, those are obviously going to be pre-filmed. So I'll start editing those and making that's where you're going to see any title cards and closing credit type of stuff. That's where you'll see those first. They'll get tested there in those recorded videos before they start coming on these live shows. But I will get that too. I'll get this channel put together and get it somewhere where you guys, actually want to tell people that you watch this channel, and some crazy nutcase like me up here just jacking around, getting nothing really across. So yeah, it was a good week. It was a good weekend. Had a great time this weekend. How about you guys in the audience? Yeah? All right. Sounds like they had a good time. I was earlier on, I don't think they knew it. I was kind of standing on the bleachers and I listened to one old boy tell his story to this other old boy about what he done this weekend, and good gravy. It takes all kinds, but man, this guy, my ears started to burn from this old boy's story. I don't know if I can put it on the channel. Probably ought not put it on the channel, but I'll try to see if I can't run down the other old boy that hangs around at the dog park this week. Maybe we can get something good out of him. We'll see. Anyhow, I think that's probably going to do it, guys. I could probably sit here and ramble on forever, but I suppose why? So anyway, we will come back on Wednesday night. We'll have an amp review on Wednesday night. We'll do something better. So we're going to go through that Boss Katana and give that a look. Try to go start to finish with that thing and give you guys some kind of a review. Obviously, like I said, beginner level review. It's not that I don't know how it works. It's just that I can't play so well as to really show off its power and its ability. But we'll start trying to reach for what some of these other channels do and make our own version of it. we'll give you the High Desert Music Channel version of a gear review, and that'll be Wednesday night. And until then, thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate you coming by and checking us out here at High Desert Music Channel. Like the videos, subscribe to the channel, leave us a comment, good, better, otherwise, on any of the videos, anywhere, anytime. I'd sure love to hear it. Thanks for watching. Have a good weekend. Or, well, shit, the weekend's over, but you know what I mean. Have a good week. We'll catch up to you Wednesday, and we'll get that gear review in and try to be a little more focused. Try to zero in on a little bit better show, and I don't think I have anything else coming for the backdrop. I think that the set is going to kind of be the set for a little while. It needs something else, I think, but hey, man, the two editions are obviously a little better than just a completely blank white screen that you guys looked at the first couple of weeks. So we'll work on all those things for you, the quality of the channel, all that. I'll bring it up. I'll try to bring it up. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate you coming by. Any support, that you can give us a like, give us a comment, subscribe to the channel. Tell any crazy fools out there that like me, that are trying to learn how to play music, that want to talk about music, that want to just get a laugh at some guy making a fool of himself on YouTube, man. Send him my way. We'd love to have him here at the channel. Thank you so much for watching. Have a real good evening, and I'll catch up to you guys Wednesday night at 9.